Trustee Cordova?
Here.
Trustee Corkery? Trustee Kozar?
Here.
Trustee Kumar?
Here.
Trustee Patrick?
Here.
President Kazoo?
Here, if you could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and then remain standing. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together this evening. May we have meaningful discussions that will help us to assist our village in these trying times. Help us to make the decisions that will affect the staff, directors, and residents of Villa Park. Guide us through the challenges we face, and may we approach each other with respect and kindness as one group. In your name, amen. Okay, item 3, amendments to the agenda. I would like to propose one amendment, moving item 7A, presentation up before public comments. If anyone would like to make a motion for that.
I can make that motion.
Trustee Cordova, Trustee Patrick?
I'll second that.
Okay. Clerk Konecki?
Okay, excuse me. Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Trustee Alfano?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
President Kazoo?
Yes. Okay. Anyone else like to make any other amendments? Okay. So with that, we will move up to our presentation and the swearing in of firefighter paramedic Nicole Else. Chief Stapleton.
Thank you, President Kazone, Manager Harline, members of the board. Today is a special day as we gather to recognize and celebrate the achievement of Nicole Else, who has successfully completed her probationary period with our fire department. This is a significant milestone in her journey, one that deserves our acknowledgement and praise. Nicole started with us as a part-time paramedic and decided to take our full-time test, and we're really glad she did. The badge Nicole will receive tonight represents what we stand for. It is now entrusted to her to continue to traditions and the core values of the Villa Park Fire Department. Nicole's parents, grandparents, and other family are here with her tonight, and her dad will be pinning on her badge. With that, it is my honor to ask Nicole Else to come up to be recognized for having successfully completed her probationary period year with the Villa Park Fire Department, be sworn in, and receive her new badge.
Okay. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, and state your name,
I, Nicole Else,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution laws of the State of Illinois,
the laws and ordinances of the Village of Villa Park,
the laws and ordinances of the Village of Villa Park,
the rules and regulations of the Villa Park Fire Department,
the rules and regulations of the Villa Park Fire Department,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties,
the office of firefighter paramedic
the office of firefighter paramedic
for the Village of Villa Park
for the Village of Villa Park
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Yes.
You want to go ahead and do the honors? Pinning the badge on?
We're not done yet.
Now, we practice this.
There's plenty of paramedics if this goes wrong.
sorry.
Yeah.
Nicole, congratulations once again on this significant achievement. I look forward to watching you grow and foster with the Villa Park Fire Department.
Thank you.
This is your night, so enjoy it. Would it be possible to have the board come down for our picture? Can we also have all the Villa Park firefighters come up for a picture?
Didn't we want like 3 or 4? Did we add all the firefighters that we wanted?
I know how much teachers love that.
It's great. For the first time ever.
For the first time. Oh, yeah. They got it too.
I think I got it.
They got it. I do like these. Nice.
They're good.
Nice.
All right.
Here.
Yeah. Great. Congratulations, Nicole. Welcome to Villa Park. Okay, so we move to item 4, public comments on agenda items. Has anyone signed up?
I have no one signed up.
Anyone?
I just wanted to say, I have a granddaughter who has autism, and so to see that on the agenda and you guys acknowledging that, I just want to say thank you very much. It's home, so thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, anyone else?
I'm here to speak on, I think it's 13F. I'm just asking that the board tonight approve the fees for the pool. The rec group worked very hard to make sure they stayed the same and that we didn't have an increase too much in it. So and they want to move forward to get that brochure out as quickly as possible, and with a lot of delay, that's going to cause delay for them to get it out. They're trying to get it to the press and get things set up so that we can get the early enrollment. So I'm just asking that you please approve that tonight so they can move forward. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Cheryl. Anyone else? Comments on agenda items? Okay, item 5, public comments on non-agenda items. Do we have anyone signed up? Clerk Nicky?
Yes, we have Marianne DeVilio regarding Mortadelli.
Hi, Marianne DeLulio, owner of Mortadelli. So I want to speak about the past 2 meetings for my business. First meeting, Kevin Patrick stressed how important it was to get the community feedback on granting my bar a full pour. So the second meeting came, not a single thing was mentioned about the community feedback. I was just told by Kevin Patrick that per the executive meeting that was just held behind closed doors, he'd have to vote no per the discussion that was just held about Mortadelli and was instructed by our village attorney. 2, I was told if I surrendered my gaming license at the first meeting, I would be issued a full pour license that day. Why would that decision not need 2 weeks of community feedback? Again, the license upgrade is for pouring cocktails, not gaming. I already have that license. 4, I was addressed by this board with a proposal after the first meeting to remove myself from the second meeting, and the village attorney would present my current AAA license rewritten because the village is currently concerned about Lena's suing. However, I decided to stay on because of the outpouring support from this community and felt that that's why we indeed waited the 2 weeks to get the community's feedback. Unfortunately, I was never made aware that if I stayed on the agenda, there would be an executive meeting held behind closed doors, and if they voted in favor of Mortadelli, it would give Lena's more ammunition to go forward with their lawsuit against the village. When I asked about this after the meeting that day, the next day I was told it was above their pay grade and they didn't know that that was going to happen and be on the agenda. I just wanted to say that I'm not Lena's, I'm Mortadelli. It's not about gaming. I'm asking for an upgrade for a full pour at the bar for my liquor license. I feel like I'm being held to the cross because Lena's has issues going on. And again, I'm not Lena's, I'm Mortadelli. And this is starting to feel like I'm being discriminated against because everything that I've brought to the table here is about my license for liquor, not gaming. So I don't think that I should be shunned for it. And I wasn't able to speak after the first 2 meetings, so I felt that I needed to address this. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Clerk Nicky?
No one else, I had no
Okay.
one else signed up.
Anyone else? Public comments on non-agenda items. Okay, we move on to item 6A is proclamation for Autism Acceptance Month. Whereas autism is a pervasive developmental disorder affecting the social, behavioral, and communication skills of those affected by it. And whereas as more health professionals become proficient in diagnosing autism, more children are being diagnosed on the autism spectrum, some areas having a ratio as high as 1 in 68 children. And whereas there is no cure for autism, documentation shows early and intensive treatment in individuals with autism leads significantly improved lives. And whereas this disorder requires dedicated support and services from family and health and social workers on a daily basis, and whereas Villa Park is actively promoting Autism Acceptance Month and urges others to help create community awareness with education, acceptance, and support of autism services. Now therefore, I, Nick Cazzone, President of the Village of Villa Park, do hereby proclaim April 2025 to be Autism Acceptance Month in the Village of Villa Park, Illinois. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, with that, we will move on to item 8A and B, is appointment to commissions. The appointment of Alan Hassler as Commissioner to the Planning and Zoning Commission from date of being sworn in through April 30th, 2027. And the appointment of Prezad Ali as Commissioner to the Video Production Commission from date of being sworn in through April 30th, 2027. And we have a motion for the appointments.
Mr. President, I'd like to make that motion.
Trustee Patrick, we have a second. Trustee Corkery, questions, comments? Okay, Clerk Renecki, please.
Yes, Trustee Kumar,
Yes.
Trustee Cordova,
Yes.
Trustee Alfano,
Yes.
Trustee Corkery.
Yes.
Trustee Patrick.
Yes.
Trustee Kozar.
Yes.
President Kazone.
Yes. Okay, so those commissioners will be notified and will be sworn in as soon as possible. Item 9 is our consent agenda. Approval of the minutes of the Committee of the Whole and Village Board of Trustees meeting held on March 10th, 2025. Bill listings for the weeks of March 10th, 2025 in the amount of $217,417.50, and March 17th, 2025 in the amount of $62,895.29. And item C is summary of coffee with the board meetings held on February 1st and March 1st, 2025. And we have a motion for the consent agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Corcoran, do we have a second? Trustee Cordova? Questions, comments? Okay, Clerk Kornecki.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Trustee Alfano?
Yes.
President Kazone?
Yes. Okay, we have no ordinances for first and second reading. Item 12A is an ordinance authorizing the disposal of surplus personal property of the Village of Villa Park, Illinois. Manager Harline.
Yes. This ordinance will allow staff to sell surplus vehicles and equipment at public auction that are no longer useful as provided by State Law 65 ILCS 5/11-76-4. The list of items for sale has, items for auction includes vehicles that have already been replaced or planned for replacement equipment and file cabinets that are no longer utilized. Staff will prepare these items for auction over the next several months. Staff recommends approval of the ordinance.
Okay, thank you. Okay, do we have a motion for the ordinance? Trustee Kumar? We have a second. Trustee Cordova? Questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, Clerk Kornecki, please.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Alfano?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
President Kazone?
Yes. Okay, item 13A is a resolution authorizing DuPage County gasoline and diesel procurement joint purchase. Manager Harline.
Yes. This resolution is to approve and concur with DuPage County to renew the contract with Al Warren Company for the joint purchase of gasoline and diesel fuel. The pricing terms and conditions as required by the specifications will remain the same as last year. The Fleet Department utilizes this bid for its purchase of fuels and has found the pricing to be the same as other joint purchase contract. Staff recommends approval of the resolution to allow for continued purchasing of fuel for Al Warren Oil Company for 2025. Director of Public Works Michael Guerra is here to answer any questions about this purchase. It is cooperatively and competitively bid purchase, and simple majority is required to pass.
Okay, thank you. Okay, do we have a motion for the resolution? Trustee Kumar, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Trustee Alfano. Questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, Clerk Kornecki, please.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Alfano?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
President Kazone?
Yes. Item 13B is a resolution amending rules of order and procedures for the Board of Trustees of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois. Manager Harline.
Yes, this, I've got the old, just half second. The Village President and Board of Trustees requested amendments to the rules of order and procedures for the Village of Villa Park Board of Trustees, and if approved, they shall be adopted. Attorney Wolf has prepared a resolution and redlined the rules of order and procedure after we reviewed notes and consulted. If there are any questions from the board, we're happy to take them, and if there are any additional changes needed, please just let us know.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion for the resolution. Trustee Kozar?
Make that motion.
Okay, we have a second.
I'll second.
Trustee Alfano? Okay, questions or comments? Trustee Cordova?
I'm wondering if we, before we adopt this, we wait until after the election. We're going to have some new folks up here and get some input from them as well. And I know we don't pass this around to candidates or anything like that, but, for us to kind of change the rules and regulations without having input of incoming board members. I don't know how everyone else feels, but I feel like
That could be brought up again. I mean, it's a living document. You know, it could be if you want to wait till the board's on board, the new board's here for a few months. I think it would probably be better to do that than get them right away. But, I mean, that's up to the board. You know. Trustee Kumar.
I'm suggesting we just pass it now, and I agree with you, we'll have to revisit it with the new board, whoever that new board is. But I mean, maybe we pass it and say that it will be revisited and have a date certain for that revisit. That's a possibility, right? And that way, the new board gets to weigh in on the matters, and if they're happy with it, they'll just keep it.
Any other questions?
Clerk Konecki, please.
If we're gonna pass it with
Oh,
a
okay.
date certain, don't we have to make a?
Okay, would you like to make a motion on that?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to weigh this in and have a date certain where it's revisited, which will be 3 months after the new board takes office.
Okay. Okay, so we have a motion to amend the resolution.
Is that
Yes.
okay, Melissa?
Yes, that's fine. So the rules will stay as is, but you're proposing a motion to amend the resolution to require that a new board in 3 months will revisit the rules.
Right.
That's fine to make that
Yeah.
motion.
Okay.
So do we want to put a date on there, like August 11th, which would be the first meeting in August?
I'd be okay with that, because that's going to give us a solid 3 months.
3
and,
months.
You know, there's going to be some onboarding, there's a lot going on, so.
Okay. Would you like to add that, Trustee Kumar?
Yes, I would like to add
to August
August
11th.
11th as the date.
Okay, so we have a motion to amend, approving the rules and then reviewing them again on August 11th. We have a second for that.
A second.
Okay, Trustee Cordova. Any questions or comments on that? Okay, so this is to amend the motion.
The resolution.
The resolution.
To amend the resolution.
Okay, to amend the resolution. Okay, Clerk Konecki, please.
Okay, Trustee Patrick,
Yes.
Trustee Corkery,
Yes.
Trustee Kumar,
Yes.
Trustee Cordova,
Yes.
Trustee Alfano,
Yes.
Trustee Kozar,
Yes.
President Kazone.
Yes. Okay, so then we have a motion on the amended resolution.
Okay.
Oh, that's already been.
That's
made.
already been, okay.
Right.
Okay. So any questions or comments on the amended resolution? Okay, Clerk Konecki, please.
Okay, Trustee Cordova,
Yes.
Trustee Corkery,
No.
Trustee Kozar,
Yes.
Trustee Alfano,
Yes.
Trustee Patrick,
Yes.
Trustee Kumar,
Yes.
President Kazone.
Yes. Okay, so that will be good for tonight, and then in 3 months, that will be revisited. Okay, item 13C is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving the joint purchase of bulk rock salt through the State of Illinois Central Management Services Bureau for strategic sourcing. Manager Harline.
The village annually purchases rock salt through an agreement with the State of Illinois Department of Central Management Services. This resolution authorizes the village manager to execute the joint participation agreement and make such purchases as necessary. The State of Illinois generally receives favorable prices because of the large quantity of salt that it purchases. The village must submit its rock salt request through a contract with the State of Illinois by April 7th, 2025, to be included in the annual bid. Village staff recommends entering into a contract with the State of Illinois for up to 500 tons of bulk rock salt. Director of Public Works Michael Guerra is here to answer any questions about this purchase. It is a cooperative bid process, just like 13D, that we are agreeing to join, so a simple majority is required to pass.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we have a motion for the resolution. Trustee Kumar, we have a second. Trustee Alfano. Questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, Clerk Konecki, please.
There is a question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Trustee Kumar.
Did we have a surplus of salt, or is our salt, can we?
Thank you, Your Honor. To address your question, we purchased 100% of our contract this past year. We do keep a stock of a full shed, which is only about 600 tons at our yard. So we do have that, but this is to be able to purchase salt for the next year. So right now, our salt shed is not the biggest, so we can't supply a full year of salt in it. So we try to anticipate about 800 to 1,200 tons of salt per year in purchasing, and that's what we get through. With these contracts, it allows us to purchase 80%, and then a max up to 120, what I believe the county goes up to 130%. So why we can't keep a large surplus, these contracts allow us some flexibility to make sure that we have enough salt on hand for.
So this is an option to purchase your salt at a certain kind of county price, and that you can avail yourself up to 130%.
Correct, yeah. We need the resolution to enter into the bids, and then we'll wait the bids and get the lowest prices between the county and SMS. We use both purchasing contracts, just in case something happens with one. They're not always the same supplier sometimes with the bids.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, Clerk Kornecki, please.
Okay, trustee Patrick,
Yes.
trustee Alfano,
Yes.
trustee Corkery.
Yes.
Trustee Kozar,
Yes.
trustee Cordova.
Yes.
Trustee Kumar.
Yes.
President Kazone.
Yes. Okay, item 13D is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving the joint purchase of bulk rock salt through the DuPage County Procurement Services Division. Manager Harline.
This resolution authorizes the village manager to approve requisition orders for the purchase of rock salt from DuPage County. The village has purchased rock salt through an agreement with DuPage County Procurement Service Division for the last 10 years. DuPage County generally receives favorable prices because of the large quantity of salt that it purchases. Village staff recommends also entering into a contract with DuPage County Procurement Service Division for up to 500 tons of bulk rock salt.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so this is obviously similar to 13C. We have a motion for the resolution. Trustee Kumar, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Trustee Cordova, questions or comments? Okay, Clerk Kornecki, please.
Trustee Alfano,
Yes.
trustee Patrick.
Yes.
Trustee Kozar,
Yes.
trustee Corkery,
Yes.
trustee Cordova.
Yes.
Trustee Kumar.
Yes.
President Kazone.
Yes. Item 13E is a resolution authorizing the appointment of an administrative officer. Manager Harline.
Section 5-3-7 of the Illinois Municipal Code, 65 ILCS 5/53-7, provides that the village board may designate a qualified administrative officer of the municipality to perform the duties of the manager in such times when the manager is absent or unable due to disability to perform the duties of the office. This resolution would replace the current administrative officer who is resigning from her position and appoint Michael Guerra, Director of Public Works, to serve as the administrative officer. Staff recommends approval of this resolution, although the circumstances are not the best. We are losing Suzanne McVeigh, and we need to replace her.
Okay, thank you. Okay, do we have a motion for the resolution? Trustee Kumar, do we have a second?
Second.
Trustee Kozar, questions or comments? Trustee Kumar.
You will be very sadly missed by all of us on the board. We thank you for all your service so far, and I'm sure all of us are feeling the pain of your leaving at this point. We are happy, Director Guerra, that you're stepping in. You have stepped in the past, and we've always been very positive with your service as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Clerk Kornecki.
Trustee Corkery,
Yes.
trustee Patrick.
Yes.
Trustee Alfano.
Yes.
Trustee Cordova.
Yes.
Trustee Kumar.
Yes.
Trustee Kozar.
Yes.
President Kazone.
Yes. Item 13F is a resolution establishing the fees for the village's swimming pool for 2025. Manager Harline.
This resolution will set the rates for the pool fees for the 2025 season. The Assistant Director of Parks and Recreation is here to answer any questions on the 2025 pool rates. No increases are recommended.
Okay, thank you. Okay, motion for the resolution. Trustee Patrick.
Mr. President, I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, second. Trustee Kumar. Okay, questions or comments? Trustee Patrick.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to amend the pool rates so that way we can include a veteran's rate to match that of the seniors discount rate of $60 per resident, $79 per non-resident.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion here. Do we have a second for that motion?
I'll second.
Trustee Kozar. Okay, any discussion on that?
Is that, in terms of the rates, are there multiple places where that would apply, or are we just gonna, do you wanna match, if there's anything else where there's a senior rate, do you wanna match that with, for a veteran's rate? I'm not sure if there are situations where there's more than one, place where that comes up. I don't have the, not looking at the rates here. Is one change gonna make it, Gina? You can, okay.
So there's a senior rate if you're a resident, early bird, and then there's a senior rate if you're a resident or a non-resident, regular fees. So we would, if we're, it sounds like we're going to just apply that fee for wherever a veteran would come in and purchase a pass.
Does that sound acceptable? Okay.
Good enough for me.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. go ahead.
Just to get some clarification, because we will amend, so we amended appropriately. The season pass rates identify a resident senior rate, age 60 plus, and then a non-resident senior rate. So we'll add a veteran rate for the season pass rate. In addition, then, there are family pass discount rates that include resident family of 2, 60 plus, and non-resident family of 2, 60 plus.
I'm sorry, yes, it
So-
does, would apply to that.
So the veteran family of 2, is that what we're looking at, making that amendment? Because that would be the same as the, like a
Sure,
senior.
yeah, I think
Okay.
it would be important that we honor our veterans that way, and I think at least we can start off by at least matching the senior rates.
Okay, perfect. Then we understand. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so we have a motion to amend. It has been seconded. Any other questions or comments? Trustee Alfano.
I do have one question. Are we looking at then a resident and non-resident rate for veterans, or just the resident rate?
Trustee Patrick,
I
what's your
would say
motion?
apply it to all, the non-resident and resident.
I was assuming,
Yeah,
I didn't want to assume.
yeah.
okay. Trustee Kumar.
I'm happy with the rates for veterans. I'm okay with that being the same as a senior rate. I do have, and I'm very happy with the way you guys have worked on the rates for the swimming pool, keeping them consistent, and that's all good. And I have no issues with that actually at all. What I do have an issue with is, my husband played pickleball this week, and he's joined the league, and the rates are very, close together for resident versus non-resident. And so the whole league was full of people who are not from Villa Park, is what I heard. Now, are we doing that on purpose? It's only a $3 difference.
It's, that's like a daily admission, correct?
No, it's the league, so it would be like 4 or 5 times that they.
Okay.
So there's only a $3 difference between the two, and he said that the whole league was full of people from Elmhurst and elsewhere. Now, we should probably be cashing in on our non-residents who are availing themselves, is my opinion. I don't know if anybody would be favorable to looking at those rates again. I know it's probably not under this same thing. I'm okay with the swimming rates as is.
Yeah, I think what we talked about before was we set the rates and had the idea that we would likely revisit those after the first year or
Okay.
throughout the year. So-
Okay, yeah, because I think the whole league was full of people from Elmhurst and Lombard, so pickleball is a money-making thing. It's something we should cash out on, was his own opinion. So I thought I'd bring that to the table. Let's, a lot of the facilities around here charge a lot more than us, and it is, I don't know how full it is, if you had really good registration or not, but it's something to think about.
Okay, thank you. Okay, anyone else on the motion to amend? Hey, Clerk Konecki, please.
Okay, Trustee Alfano,
Yes.
Trustee Patrick,
Yes.
Trustee Cordova,
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
President Kazal?
Yes. We already had the motion, right? Okay. Okay, so we already had the motion on the resolution, so any questions or comments on the amended motion? Okay, Clerk Konecki, this is to vote on the amended motion.
Yes, Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Trustee Alfano?
Yes.
President Kazal?
Yes. Okay, thanks, Gina. Okay, move on to item 14A, unfinished business, is guidance on residential lead water service line replacement. And we'll turn this over to Director Guerra.
And if it pleases Your Honor and the board, I'll put the memo on the screen that was included in the packet. Oh, I made it really big, I apologize. Just so residents at home can also follow along. I believe at the last, well, that doesn't work either. Committee of the Whole meeting, we discussed trying to create a program to help private side lead service replacement and galvanized. I believe I try to take everyone's comments down and kind of respond to those, as this is a pseudo-timely manner for us as we enter into construction season to make sure that we inform the residents of what their options are as we move forward with these construction projects. At the meeting, I believe it was told, I took away that I think the board's in favor of providing some sort of assistance, whether it's a 50/50, 75/25, or full cost replacement, but you wanted to have some more clarification on the financials. So I attempted to do that. Hopefully I didn't nerd out too much, being an engineer and creating spreadsheets everywhere. But I wanted to try to provide the full picture for the board as you make that informed decision. So what I ended up trying to do is I went through and said, okay, if we pay for 100% of private side replacement, what I didn't present in the last presentation is we also have the public side replacement. We still have our portion that we have to pay for and replaced throughout town, and we do that actively, but there is a cost associated with that. So what does that look like, and then how much would that cost based on the numbers that we're forecasting? And so with that, I'll just pull over the bigger spreadsheet so it's a little bit easier to see. What it looks like is if we anticipate, if it was the village sponsored 100% replacement, we would probably program the village through 10 zones. We had a previous draft of this when we thought there'd be like 15 years to replace them before they shrunk it down to 10, but we would probably prioritize the village into 10 zones with the highest probability of those zones kind of being 1, 2, 3, and the lower zones being further out years to prioritize that replacement. Looking at current bids, you know, I took the average cost of about $8,000, and if we can get 33 services a year replaced, that would cost about $264,000 just for the private side. And correlating that to what a bill would look like, that would be 52 cents per 1,000 gallons. That's how we bill our water. We bill per the thousands, so it'd be about 52 cents of our rate would be taken up by serving the private side of the lead services. Additionally, we have our public side that we still are dealing with. Our side's on average been a little bit lower, but we would also have to put in that cost. We have to actually go out and exploratory dig. Unfortunately, we don't have x-ray vision yet, so we cannot see underground to see our side. A lot of our records are based on historical records for our mains. We kept a lot of good information on our mains, but not a lot of great information on services coming off of them, so it's all kind of based on age of last replacement, and that's known. So we would have to what's called exploratory dig. We're actually doing this as part of the Jackson area where they'll probably bring out like a big vector truck like we have, hydro excavate down around the B boxes, a couple of feet on either side, expose those lines without disturbing any material, being able to take that inventory. So on our side, that would be, we'd probably try to dig about up to 600 services a year because we have a lot more unknown on our public side than we do the private side. So that would cost us about $300,000 a year, or about 59 cents. So if we did 100% replacement, we're looking at about over $500,000 a year, $562,000. Again, these are all estimates. As we get into it, there could be differences in bids. So maybe it'll be a little cheaper, a little bit more expensive, but it equates to about $1.11 per 1,000 gallons. You correlate that to like an average monthly use of 6,000 gallons, you're about $7 a resident for that cost. For the purposes of this spreadsheet, I assumed a 3% inflation rate, knowing that costs will probably go up. I hope it's only 3% from the last couple of years that we've seen inflation kind of go. So overall, that program would cost, for both sides, about $6 million, 6.3. Additionally, I looked at two other options. We looked at the up to 5,000. I think we'd have to decide if we want 50-50, 75-25, but if we match up to $5,000, what does that look like? If we still plan on about 33 services a year, granted, if we go into our participation program, that would kind of be up to residents to also want to volunteer into that program, so that number may bounce a little bit. But it equates out to be about 36 cents per 1,000 gallons for the private side, and then still like that 92 cents on the public side. Just because I'm sorry, the 59 cents on the public side, which creates about 92 cents total, or about 5.52 on average. Similarly, I looked at knowing all programs and kind of going through this with the sanitary sewer replacement programs. Costs go up over years. Do we want to provide an automatic adjuster into that rate if that's the route we go with the program? I put in about a 2%. That equates to about $100 a year increase. I did $100 in this example just because I didn't want to get into, if we market, say, 2% every year, then you'll be at $5,102 and then $5,204. It makes it a little wonky in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. But so I looked at that sort of program. So it'd be about $5. Obviously, we know our rates are about $10, so that would be almost all the villages. That dollar would eat up majority of our rate. So but we still have to maintain operations, and we still have other capital projects that are needed in the village. So I looked at historically, what has the water fund looked at? So I went back and took out the CAFRs, or the coffers, I don't know the exact, the Consolidated Annual Fiscal Report, how about that?
Annual Consolidated Financial Report now.
I'm an engineer. I'm not
They've changed the name to.
And I'd correlate that across the top to what our rates were. And this was correlated in our last rate study. I don't believe many on the board. I believe Trustee Patrick and probably Trustee Kazone were the only ones on the board when we passed the last rate study because it was in 2021. And we passed a 5-year study dating back to 2020. So these are the rates that were set in that study, along with the customer charges. So you can see that we've kind of increased rates to correlate. So what that kind of goes down to is I put across, just for purposes of which ones are audited and which ones are unaudited. Obviously, Finance Director Howard is working on starting the 2024 audit. What that resulted into revenues and then our expenses. And you can kind of see in 21 and 22, we were only making around $55,000, $60,000 in excess of revenue versus our expenses. So we're pretty close. We're obviously under budget. But we weren't tremendously building our reserves. So in 2021, we're a little over $1 million. In 2022, you kind of add on, we got up to about 2.5. And then underneath that, I also put what my understanding is as financial is that you want about a 30% of the fund in reserve so that you can kind of carry about several months. Majority of our bill and our operations is the cost of water, what we purchase from DWC. So I kind of put that there. For some reason, in 2023, they did not give us the unrestricted fund balance. They gave us total fund balance, so I calculated that out based on the surplus, which was 290. We did grow, and that was planned in our rate study. We planned in our rate study to grow in 2023 and 2024. And the purpose of that growth, if you see over in this right-hand side, is we're spending it down, is because we were looking to self-fund some of our capital projects, i.e. not go after loans, fund in-house, get projects completed with no debt service. Those projects are the tower painting that we awarded last fall it came in under our projected budget, but that's still $800,000 to that award. And then we have bids going out, I believe, next week for Harvard Avenue, North Harvard Avenue, which is from Plymouth up to Ridge. That was deferred, and so it was always included in the rate study to fund that with self-funds, our internal funds. And we're thinking that's going to be like $1.5 million, so there's some road, street fund referendum and money in that, plus the water. Additionally, we looked at, in that rate, to kind of grow a little bit of a capital fund, as kind of presented by Mr. De La Rosa that committee of the whole meeting, so that we could look at funding more projects without having to go through loans. It's a very complicated process to go through loans. You might not get it. So we do have 2 projects planned for loans. But we also know we have Michigan, North Michigan, that's in very bad shape, and it needs new water main. And North Iowa, along with new main on Plymouth. So we did grow the fund a little bit to kind of account for a capital fund every year so that we could go after more projects without needing outside funding. We did also grow it as we did get those 2 CDBG funds, projects of 1.2 to 600,000 and 600,000 for North Michigan and North Iowa, but those were 1 blocks. So we do need to grow it. So if you look at this year, what we're planning is to spend down some of that reserve that was closer to 4 million, bring us back down to that 1.8. So we do have a little bit of money. So it's, I know I talked a lot of funds. So what was I proposing? So when I was looking at this, another thing jumped out at me when I was reviewing the audit. Since Director Howard has come on board, he's redone some of our investing of our funds. And I noticed, looking at the at the reports, that our interest has grown from about $30,000 to like $150,000 and $200,000 in this fund. What I would propose is we could probably be able to offer $5,000 to residents in a cost share, maybe utilize that money that we make off of interest to not raise rates, and we can probably eat that 50 cents that we're using to build the capital project up to fund the public side. I think if we go with funding 100%, maybe not this year, but in future years, we'll have to raise rates. And hearing what's coming down the pipe from DWC on rate increases, it would start making our water very unaffordable for our residents. So that would be my recommendation. Obviously, this is a policy by the board and creation. I was just trying to give you a greater financial picture to be fully aware of what's coming. Then lastly, I think there was a few other comments and questions about outreach. So I just wanted to address those as well, if you don't mind, and then we can get into discussion. I am working with our PIO, Riley Pillar. We are updating our website to include a lot more information. We were lacking. We're trying to wait for some of this, plus try to see what programs we can offer. So she's working with she's assisting me on updating our website to include a lot more information, what can be done to help lessen the possibility of lead in your home water, how to determine if you have a lead service line coming in. We are also building out a link that if residents wish to report, they can report that service to us or schedule an appointment, and our staff would be more than happy to come out and inspect that service line coming in. And we've been updating continuously our GIS layer so that we could probably share that in the near future. It just wasn't at a point I felt comfortable last year in accuracy that I wanted to push out, and I didn't want to alarm people without more accurate information. Kevin Manholz, the assistant village engineers, has been updating that, and we're getting ready to submit our annual inventory on April 15th. So that's probably a lot better location state that we can share that. So those are the few items I think that was discussed. If I missed any, I apologize. But we're just looking for guidance on how to proceed as, like I said, we do have Jackson area advancing in construction. We do now have North Harbor that we're planning to have bids back here about within a month, so that we can inform the residents if we encounter lead, what does the village offer in terms of their side of the private. But I can answer any questions. I know that was a lot. I know there's a lot of spreadsheets and a lot of different numbers thrown out there, so I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Kumar.
Yeah, I have a couple of statements and a question. I personally am not in favor of 100% because I think that would lead to a lot of moral hazard, plus increase our water rates across the board. And that's why I asked that question last time. But I am in favor of two things. One, either the 70% up to the 5,000. There's a couple of things. If there are people who've finished or had this service done privately in the last, let's say, 3 years, I think that we should honor that service and pay for that as well. That's something we need to look into because it's just more fair that way. So I would be amenable to that change as well on this because it is fair that way. One other thing, either the 70 up to 5,000, which is what Lombard does, or 50 up to whatever, 5,000 or whatever. I'm fine with either of those, depending on how our board shoots. As I said, I don't want a lot of fear. A lot of times fear, if you say something is free, will make people run to it and expend the money, and it'll come to bite us as residents in our water bill. So we need to be a little careful that way in terms of that. And I also do not want to overwork our staff. Honestly speaking, that's not the intention in my mind. On top of that, I have one concern, and this is an outlay cost, and we talked about there are possibilities of financing. The portion, if the resident goes ahead and does their portion, do they have the ability to pay it off over 3 years or whatever, the 50%?
Yes, I guess I didn't bring
Or
that-
the 30%, whatever the number is.
that portion up. So yes, if we go with a program, and then it's like our CIP program where we're doing it as part of our projects, we offer any of the resident participation a payment plan. Right now, it only goes up to 24 months. We may want to look at extending that out to like 36 months because some of the costs can get up there. We understand that, and monthly payments are a reality of making them that affordable, and that's at zero interest. I would say if the resident's initiating outside our CIP, obviously that would be kind of like our sanitary sewer program, where they'd probably get 2 quotes and we're going to reimburse them that cost of the 50% with the paid receipt like we do with our sanitary sewer. I would probably mimic the guidelines just to our sanitary sewer replacement program to be similar. And those are the 2 ways that we do the sanitary. If the residents participate in a CIP, we discount our participation on their bill to them and offer a payment plan. If the residents are seeking on their own to go do it like an improvement, we would offer the reimbursement at the completion of 50%. And the program I also put in there, I think there's in the slides, but not in this presentation, would probably be similar. I'd probably recommend waiving the permit fee for lead service replacement. If it's a improvement, upgrade, typically most villages, and I would say I would recommend that's all still included because you're increasing the line. But if you're just replacing due to lead, I would recommend that we also waive the permit fee, as that's something the village needs to get done, and they're benefiting the village, so still need a permit, but waive the permit fee.
And just for residents' information, our sewer program, we upped it to 50%, $5,000, correct?
So our sewer program is, we three-phased it, but it's 50% up to $3,500, but a lifetime of $5,000. Because sometimes there's people that has done repairs previously, or maybe they only can afford a spot repair and it's a longer line. The water lines, I would say, we don't allow spot repairs or partials, that you have to run a full line from your house to the B-box. You kind of want that on your end. You don't want weak points in that water leak, but because on the wastewater side, there's options to do half and half. We put a lifetime at $5,000, but a single application of $3,500.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm okay with the 50%. I think, we need to share the cost with the owner, but I think all the other programs, the other portions that you came up with, I think I'm okay with that. Trustee Alfano? Oh, okay. Trustee Cordova?
The cost share program makes sense. If it's up to 5,000 and it's, you kind of had a quote in here, or just an estimate about $8,000, right? So.
Correct. We kind of took an estimate. The hard part on the private side is, to be honest, is the interior restoration. A lot of them come up through the floor, or they come through the side, so it's hard to determine how much needs to be replaced, because they don't have to cut, if it's in the floor, they don't have to cut a hole in your cement floor in your basement, and they don't bore it under and then bring it up through there, so there is some more work, where other ones are buried between walls. That's the unknown in the on the private side, that makes it a little bit harder to estimate the cost. And then, because we kind of know our public side, we know where the main is, we know where the B box is, we can measure. Similarly, we can do that, but, so that 8,000 is kind of based on the last two projects where we had line items in there for this. One was a little bit lower and one's a little bit higher. And granted, sometimes we don't know where the contractor puts a little bit more of their profit in which items, but, so I would say 8,000 should be about right. But
Yeah.
there could be several that are more than 10, and there could be some that's like 6.
Right, some of these houses are set way back in the lot, some are right up close, and when we talk about the cost share program, if they do have to rip a wall down, this budget will go towards that, or is it just a replacement of the pipes?
I mean, ultimately, that would be the board's decision, but we would probably include reasonable restoration, knowing that you need to as a homeowner, you don't have to cut that floor and it's gonna have to be poured back. If you have carpet down there, obviously the carpet's gonna have to be fixed. The drywall's gonna have to be fixed. That's some of the cost. I would say we'd probably include a reasonable cost for the restoration. Now, if you're doing a remodel to the whole room, that probably would not be, but if you're just knowing that you gotta fix your slab in your basement or you gotta fix your wall, I would incorporate reasonable cost for interior restoration to go back to normal.
And the 5,000 should, I mean, if it's a $10,000 project, you know, it's a $5,000 off is a pretty good project, especially if you have to redo ceiling and floors, busting up floors and all that. So, okay.
Just Corkery.
I'd like to see the village help residents as much as possible, just because these service lines have to go someday, right? I mean, we can't just leave them down there forever.
This is one of them, the legislations that are still in effect, yes.
Yeah, so, I know it's a lot of money, but if we don't pay it, then the residents have to, you know, if they are able, if they're willing, which are two big ifs. So I would like to see us dedicate as much resources to getting the lead out of the water system as possible.
Trustee Alfano.
Thank you. I had one clarification. I know that in the presentation that you gave last at the COW and in today's packet, you mentioned lead and galvanized or galvanized. Does this also include galvanized, or is it if you find lead and then there's also galvanized? Can you explain?
Yes, so when they came up with the final rule, everybody understands lead. They've included galvanized.
They have, okay.
Galvanized is we're still trying to figure it out, but the recommendation is remove galvanized as well as lead. I believe it's a chemistry between any lead and galvanized. They kind of react with each other, is my understanding. And that's why the recommendation of the EPA is we have to document which ones are galvanized, which ones are lead. We document which ones is copper and other, but the recommendations for removal is lead and galvanized.
Okay, thank
So
you.
we would include galvanized in this program.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Just one more. So
Trustee Good.
would our next step here be, you know, looking at the water fund and what we'll have and what, you know, in 2025, it says that we're going to be minus 2.5 million in water fund. So we're not going to be able to fund any of this from that, correct?
So that 2.5 you're referring to is right about here?
Yeah.
So that was part of the plan buildup of reserves, and so that is being spent down on reserves to bring us back to about 1.8.
Okay.
So we do have some funds in there that this program, obviously, we do have two programs that are, well, one, the Jackson area is under construction, and we're highly anticipating having lead. We've already found, I think, one lead and one galvanized public side service, so that's being replaced. We are hydro excavating every service in that project area to get both public and private side. So we will have services that will need to be in this program to be offered for this project in the North Harvard Avenue. We're not anticipating lead in the North Harvard Avenue project, which is Plymouth to Ridge, as we had not experienced lead with the previous projects up there. However,
who knows? Yeah.
We're not 100% certain until we can visually see it. So we're just looking for guidance. I don't know if a straw poll would help, or I'd probably ask for a straw poll if possible, Your Honor. But the next step for us would be then, based on the straw poll, we will develop a program for the board's approval just like we did the sanitary, or I guess it's called the home flood prevention program, but we would draft a similar program to be approved by the board to be official policy of the village.
Just one more thing. So if we can move forward with that, can we also get, this may be a Chuck question, where the budget would come from? Like, you know, without having to sacrifice these upcoming, not just these two, but future projects that we have anticipated, where will fund some of these, both of these projects? Like, you know, if we're gonna have to find another, it was like $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 a year, where that would come from if we're not increasing our revenue as a municipality. So, you know, that'll be,
Yes.
as we move forward, just saying, here's, you know, if, in order to fund this program in '26, you know, we need X amount of dollars, this is where we would either have to increase our revenue, or this is where we would take it from. And then just to give us an idea of, it's gonna be a if this and that, right? If we are gonna move forward with a, you know, 50/50 program or whatever it would be, or even if 100% village, you know, we would kind of want to know what the implications are with other projects or other line items that would be impacted.
Yeah, I think we can do that. Like I said, I noticed in our revenue for proposed for this year, we did not have any of the interest off our projected. In the last year, unaudited in 2024 is around $200,000 in the water reserves, or the water fund. So I think we would have a little bit of cover this year based on that interest revenue not being included. But yeah, I can provide a better breakdown of revenue versus expenses anticipated for '25. And then, yeah, that funding would be then incorporated into future budgets. It might have to be, like you're saying, first come, first serve, up to so many, or I don't really like doing that, but we'd have to, you know, we can't fund 100% of everybody the first year. We would have to spread some of that out.
Also, the spreadsheets are wonderful, so just.
Trustee Kumar.
So I'm I need to know the difference between the 70-30 Lombard and the 50-50, because this is where I'm at anyway, one of those two. It looks like both of them cap out at 5,000, so it's not like it's so much more cost, it's just a little bit more flexibility, I think, from the perspective. And if as we have a shortfall, right now we're not raising water rates, that would potentially mean a raise in water rates, I presume, if we're having a shortfall and over the 10 years somehow, it would go into our water rates as a revenue source. Am I correct?
Correct. And I would like to mention, we would still seek funding, grants, those sort of things as well. Not just solely rely on rates in this, but we would continue to seek loans, grants, to replace on our end, to kind of spread out that cost a little bit as well. But the 75-25 or 50-50, obviously it's the percentage. So, like speaking back to Trustee Cordova, like if it's $8,000, 50-50, the village would pay 4 versus 75-25. Now we're up to that probably 5 and they're out 3. So it's kind of that basis. It's kind of, I guess, the board's discretion of how much they were willing to fund. You'd also, we would require 2 bids. We would want to, obviously, we would encourage 3 if you can get them. The more competitive the bids, the better the pricing is. Obviously, that also helps residents pay less if they get lower bids, even with while our participation will go down. If their bid's only $6,000, we only pay 3, their portion's only 3. If it's 8, they get 4, but they got to pay 4. So it's in everyone's best interest to get multiple bids. So I think there's some, hopefully there's no gamemanship with bids, knowing that the village funds some of this. But that's sometimes a concern on our end.
Okay. If we, I don't know if we want to do a straw poll on what your feelings are. We can start, do we need a roll call or do we not? Because
I think you can, maybe just so we can get a clear direction, you can do some various straw polls. So maybe do a straw poll first regarding option number 1 with respect to 100% funding of the project. And then we can move on to the next option that has the cap at $5,000, and we'll then discuss another
Yeah.
straw poll on the percentage.
Okay. Okay, we can do we, Clerk Konecki do it? Yeah,
Sure.
okay. So option one was 100% paid by the village.
Correct.
Okay. Clerk Konecki? Yes or no if you'd like 100% paid by the village?
Okay. Trustee Patrick?
I would agree with trustee Corkery. I would like to see the village cover this entire expense. However, being financially responsible, I have to take your recommendation, and that is what I would go with what Director Guerra is telling us. So at this time, I am a no to this, but I do think this is a great start to this program, and there's nothing that limits us from talking about this in the future as well and modifying this in the future. So I would like to say, first of all, I agree with Trustee Corkery. I would like the village to cover this 100%. However, being financially responsible, I would like to take your recommendation for what you're proposing.
Okay, that's a no.
That's a no?
No.
It's
At
a no.
100%.
100%, that's a no.
That's a no.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Kumar?
No.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Cordova?
No.
Trustee Kozar?
No.
Trustee Alfano?
No.
President Kazone?
No. Okay, I think your next item was,
A cap of $5,000 participation.
with how much the village, or just,
I think that would be the third one, is I think first we set the cap.
So I guess,
Okay.
I guess since the cap at $5,000 is without question, right?
Yes.
Okay.
yeah.
Is that fair to understand that? Okay.
Okay, so.
Trustee
so-
Patrick.
Go ahead.
Director Guerra, just to clarify your recommendation, are you recommending option 1, 2, or 3?
In terms of 50/50 or 75, or?
Right.
I would say the participation is probably a little bit more policy on the board. I think at the end of the day, we're going to be closing in around 5,000 most of the time. So on the financial side, the 5,000 is what I would bank for. Planning-wise, it's just the participation is a little bit more, I'd say probably at the governance of the board or the preference.
But when we're talking about being financially responsible, there's a difference between 50 and 75, and that's what I'm asking. What would you recommend?
I think 50 would be in line with our other programs.
Okay, thank you.
Correct, yeah. Trustee Alfano?
There was some discussion about possibly waiving the permit fee.
I think the permit fee would be waived in any scenario with the participation program.
Is that something that we want to clarify as we are having this straw poll vote or not?
Yeah, we can add that, but I think, like Director Rivera said, whatever we decide up here as far as payment, the permit fee will be waived.
Okay.
Trustee Kumar?
I also want the retrospective for 3 years added into this. I think there's very few people, but there are a few people who may have paid in the last few years. You might have had this done, and I'd like them added. So I'm asking for 3 years. Whaley.
Just for clarification, for lead replacement?
Lead replacement.
Because we've had several, improvements, upgrades because of new construction.
No.
I would not include this in. the
No,
program.
just lead
Sole
replacement.
lead replacement.
Just
Have there
lead
been many?
replacement.
Do you know of?
One or two, I think. Trustee Kumar had asked me, and we've looked it up. I think there's about 25 permits, but a lot of them are upgrades to a larger service. And it was due to renovation upgrades and not due to lead replacements. But I do know we had one, and I believe we might have had another.
Yeah, so 1 or 2, so I would, to make it more fair, I would include that.
Okay. Just talking to the village attorney, we'll do those separately. Okay. So the next thing would be straw poll on 50/50 with a $5,000 cap. Clerk Konecki?
Okay, Trustee Alfano?
Yes.
Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
President Kazone?
Yes. Okay, so, yeah, I think that brings us in line with everything else. And then if we could have just a straw on going back the last 3 years and reimbursing at that same 50/50 up to $5,000.
For lead line or.
For lead line or galvanized.
Galvanized. Replacement.
With that replacement of those like for like, not improvements. Clerk Konecki.
Okay, trustee Kumar,
Yes.
trustee Patrick,
Yes.
trustee Alfano,
Yes.
trustee Cordova,
Yes.
trustee Kozar,
Yes.
trustee Corkery.
Yes.
President Cassell.
Yes. Okay. So it looks like we got what we're looking for here, and appreciate all your time.
The
Manager
the
Harlan?
only other thing I think that's left is whether we want to do 36-month, to look at a 36-month versus a 24-month payback. And these are always with 0% interest.
Correct.
So,
Okay.
I think that's the only remaining issue out there.
Or if you want to automatically accelerate or kicker every year.
Oh, yep, I think, yeah.
If that's an option. But these are some of these,
Yeah.
this helps me start drafting the program greatly.
Yeah, correct,
from
yeah.
the residents for this year, but,
Yeah.
yeah. My
What's your
recommendation-
opinion on the 36-month?
I would recommend it,
Okay.
especially when we get into capital projects. A lot of residents are looking at
Mm-hmm.
maybe improving their driveway, upgrading it from asphalt to concrete, improving their sanitary service. Now they can have a water line. That starts adding up quite a bit, even if we're paying for portions. The payment plan was set up to try to keep payments in line. My goal was to under $300 a month for payback, and so these numbers would exceed that, so I think at least 36 months would
Okay.
be recommended.
Okay. Is the board okay with that? Okay. I think we can work that in there. And then the $100 kicker every year?
If
Yeah.
you want, either way, or we can come back and adjust it after a year or two, see how the program goes, whichever the board's discretion is.
Okay. Trustee Kumar?
I'm in favor of just voting on the 36 or whatever, and then revisiting it.
Yeah. Okay, we'll keep it at that then. Good. Okay,
Thank you,
thanks,
everyone.
Mike. Thank you. Thanks for all your time on that. That was quite a bit. Thank you. Okay, item 15, new business. Does anyone have any new business? Item 16, our village commission reports. Acceptance of the minutes of the Community Fund Commission meeting held on January 28th, 2025. Acceptance of the minutes of the Environmental Concerns Commission's Bike, Pedestrian, and Transit meeting held on January 23rd, 2025. Acceptance of the minutes of the Environmental Concerns Commission meeting held on January 23rd, 2025. And acceptance of the minutes of the Parks and Recreation Advisory Commission meeting held on February 11th, 2025. And we already did coffee with the board. So those are all in our packets. Item 17 is Village Clerk's report.
Just a reminder to our residents that we are right now in having the elections, early voting. The library is the source right here in our village. Others outside the village, as usual, Elmhurst City Hall, the other places, Addison, and other communities around us have their own locations. Very important, April 1st is the actual voting, the day of voting. So sometimes residents and other people, they don't think this is a very important election, but it is very, because it's a local election. It really hits the local level. So, be aware of what you're voting for. Take time to find out who you're voting for and what the issues may be, so that you're doing wise voting. But anyway, be sure to vote. That's the main thing. Vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go to the trustees' report. We'll start on my right. Trustee Patrick.
Thank you. Good evening, Villa Park. I have a few things that I would like to talk about tonight. First of all, I want to start off by thanking Kyle Schnittler and the VP Chamber of Commerce for inviting me to the VNA Healthcare ribbon cutting today. They're located at 101 East St. Charles Road. I'd also like to thank the Villa Park Islamic Foundation for inviting me to the Breaking of the Fast event that happened during Ramadan. Also want to remind everybody that this Friday at the Villa Park VFW Post 2801 is their annual fish fry event at 5:30. Please stop by and support the Post if you can. And lastly, over the weekend, the Villa Park Police Department participated in the Oak Brook Polar Plunge, which they got, I think it was over $4,000 worth of donations to Special Olympics Illinois. So a great job. We had the WWF 80s theme going on, and believe it or not, we won the costume contest. So without further ado, I would like to present this trophy to our chief of police here on behalf of the Polar Plungers and the Villa Park Police Department for winning Best Costume Contest.
There are photos, aren't there? Trustee Patrick? Trustee Patrick, there are photos, aren't there?
There are.
Good, 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 good.
And if the chief wants to, you could wear Macho Man's hat and sunglasses.
We do expect you to wear your uniform next time.
But it was a great event. It was cold. I know some other board members here participated in it as well. It was for a good cause. It was a lot of fun. If you would like to see those pictures that the manager has referenced, you could go to the Villa Park Police Department's Facebook page. I know that they're there. Maybe we might be able to get them up on the website as well.
Oh, I'm sure of it.
But again, it was cold, but it was a lot of fun, and it was for a great cause, and great job for to the police department for stepping up and doing this. So thank you. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Cordova.
Just to build a little bit on the VNA opening today with the ribbon cutting, I do want to read this blurb out. We stayed a little bit after and took a tour of it, and it's absolutely beautiful. So this facility has 12 rooms for medical exams, a wellness center, a kitchen, a laboratory, and nursing stations. The healthcare professionals will offer services including family medicine, pediatric psychiatry, and counseling, and home-based care, nutrition, case management, and more. With this new facility, VNA will be able to participate or to provide care to thousands of low-income patients who might otherwise not have access to care. And they anticipate serving an estimated 5,000 unduplicated patients over the next 24 months. So that's right here in Villa Park. That is a huge, huge addition to our community. And again, just a thank you to the chamber as well as VNA Healthcare for inviting us. And it was a great event this morning. So other than that, that's it.
Okay. Trustee Kozar.
Right. After bringing up the idea of creating a dog park in our last meeting, I've had a number of calls and emails of residents thinking a dog park would be a great idea. So I look forward to continuing to explore this exciting concept, and if anybody else is interested in potentially joining a committee to explore this idea, you can contact me at trusteekozar@invillapark.com. Additionally, it's been really nice these past few weeks hearing the thoughts and concerns and the changes our residents would like to see for the future of Villa Park. Let's keep talking. I look forward to more town hall meetings and good dialogue. We're all in this together, and we're better together. So, thank you.
Okay. Trustee Alfano.
Thank you. I wanted to congratulate our newest firefighter and paramedic, Nicole. That's always one of my favorite things to be a part of here on the board and to witness. I think that that's something to celebrate. So thank you, Nicole, and congratulations. Congratulations to our police department and to the trustees and community members who participated in that polar plunge. You're very brave for doing that. And thank you for doing that for charity. I think that really does show some commitment to our community, and it shows character, and it shows people who Villa Park really is. There's a fun commission meeting tomorrow at 5:30. Come on and attend, and you can see some of the things that are going to be planned for the summer. I hope that you will be a part of it. Come on out. And it's always an honor to sit here and represent the residents and my neighbors, so please reach out with anything that you have a concern or question about. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Kumar.
Hi, I was one of those that participated in the polar plunge along with Hulk Hogan and Macho Man over there. And it was a blast. I was the least dressed of the lot, but there were Principal Kraus, who's been doing this for quite a few years. I'd like to shout out to him as well with District 88. He was encouraging us on to get into that cold water, and it was a blast, along with a whole bunch of very Cyndi Lauper dressed teachers as well. So that was just one heck of a time, to tell you the truth. And my husband was worried, but it was a blast, and I would always do it because it's for a great cause. I really value what the Special Olympics do. They enable people who are disabled, and that enabling brings them to greatest heights that are possible. I have a close friend who dropped off from our friendship at one point, when she got married, and I always thought that, why? She just changed her personality. And later realized she has 2 disabled children. One of those children won the silver medal at the Special Olympics. And one of her children is wheelchair bound for life. And that's when I realized what the Special Olympics does. And I was very, very fortunate that the Villa Park Police Department gave us this opportunity to join them in supporting such a great organization. So thank you for that. As a department, it's just one thing that I thought was a great opportunity and a great thing. It shows how close we are as a group. Villa Park works together, and our trustees definitely work together to fall in cold water. So that's where I'm going to end that, and thank you all for that who participated.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Corkery?
No report this week.
Okay, thank you. All right, we go to the village president's report. A couple things. I'd like to also say on the V&A, I think that's a great addition to Villa Park and our healthcare choices, especially now with all of the cuts that are coming to healthcare from our federal government. So it was great seeing the new place. It's really a very nice facility there. Also, election is next Tuesday, week from tomorrow, so make sure you get out and vote. Getting on with the theme of our federal government, last Monday I had a meeting with DuPage mayors, along with our reps, Sean Caston, Bill Foster, Raja Krishnamurthy, and Delia Ramirez. And all of them were very pessimistic about funding this year. A lot of cuts coming. Earmarks from last year seemed to be okay. If the money was appropriated, they should be coming. But this year, very up in the air. So I would recommend that people start calling your reps downstate or in the federal government. Contact our our 2 senators. Contact them. I know they're on the one side, but they still have a voice there. So definitely make your voice heard. It helps us all on our funding. Last Friday, the village had a employee appreciation at Windy City Curling. I got there late towards the end of it, but it seemed like it was a nice crowd. A lot of employees attended, talking to people. It seemed like they had a really good time. So thanks to our assistant village manager, McVeigh, for setting that up along with the committee. It was really nice, and I think it's a great morale booster for our employees here. I think they all had a good time. It was a really nice event. Coffee with the board will be April 5th, Saturday, 9 o'clock, up here in our boardroom up here. And getting on to Suzanne McVeigh, Wednesday will be her last day here. So congratulations on your new position, and you will be missed. I know it was said earlier, but you definitely will be missed. I've enjoyed working with you the time you've been here. So good luck to you in your future endeavors. Thank you. Okay, our village manager's report.
All right, I had 8:45 in the pool, so I had 4 quick items. I'll start with I'll go from least happy to most important. We got an update on FEMA grant funds that we have with the federal government. Our Public Works Department applied for and obtained a Building Resilient Infrastructures and Communities grant, or BRIC, for the Jackson Pond and area improvements, and that came from FEMA for flood mitigation in the amount of $4 million. We confirmed today that the remaining funds, $1,280,835, are paused or delayed. They ask us to continue submitting reimbursement requests, but the project which originally was designed at about $6 million and has grown because of design changes and cost increases. This $1.2 million, $1.3 million would be sorely missed if we don't have it released by the federal government. This is a project that was not only awarded competitively, a very competitive process, but was already in progress. The next COW we have scheduled tentatively, artificial intelligence uses and policies for the village. If I'm having trouble getting information, I'll let you know, and then we'll see where we go from there. But I think we'll be all right. So, sponsors for the 4th of July parade are being sought by the VFW. Same sponsorship levels as last year, 250, 1,000, and 2,500 for the capstone sponsor. That's not the official name, but the presenting sponsor. The theme this year is Forever United, and we'll be using the same route as last year. So, if you guys weren't in it last year, come up with a float or an entry. We look forward to it. We had a really good parade, and I think it's been getting better each year recently. So, and then the fourth item is the most important, but probably actually the saddest. This is the last board meeting for Assistant Village Manager Suzanne McVeigh, and it's with great regret that I say that, as she announced her resignation to go work for the as the Deputy Director of Human Resources at the county. She's given the Villa Park 4 years of excellent dedicated service, held the highest levels of integrity during some challenging times, through COVID, through 3 different village managers she had to deal with and tolerate. She's been in charge of the IT divisions during significant upgrades. She's overseen improvements in our human resources policy and added value to many other endeavors. Among them are the work she's done on the negotiations with our collective bargaining groups, and she's also done a lot with risk management. We were getting 0 points in participation before she came on board, and now we're perfect in board meeting participation because she goes, and 90.6% for Irma in total member participation, and she's upgraded the safety program as well. And few will ever know how much time she put in to learn the payroll system to make sure everyone was paid properly, as 3 people on the depth chart ahead of her were unavailable to do it. So she wasn't like our frontline person. She wasn't our number 2 person. She wasn't our number 3 person. So she filled in when she had to do it, which required learning a new system to do one of the most one of the jobs that if it's not done right, you're going to hear about it the loudest. So I hear from community members all the time about the value she brings to the village. I don't need them to tell me that because I see it every day, but it's a lot of people know what we're losing. So that's my closing statement on that, and we will be missed.
Okay, thank you. All right, we have no executive session tonight, so we have a motion for adjournment. Trustee Alfano, do we have a second? Trustee Patrick? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Aye, any opposed? Okay, we are closed, and we will be back here on April 14th, 3 weeks from tonight. So